Nobody can grow on his own or by himself. I cannot say that when I was born, I came with a blank slate, empty, and can fill up whatever I like or whatever the situation I face may bring into. Just like a computer disk, when you initiate something from the beginning, there's a operating program, DNA, and whatever has happened may be embedded in the process to become a human and learn things and use that as a way to grow. So naturally, there's certain programming going on. And a thought that pops up in me is that, for example, yesterday I was listening to Osho talking about being here and now. That's the place that we can engage ourselves grounded and be with the flow of the universe. I think it's a profound saying, but I also have this view that since I was born and learned certain skills, so I think, and part of the skill or desire may be something to do with wishing to do some good for the society, sincerely and truthfully living. In whatever the case is that I came to that thinking or realization 20 some years ago, especially at the awakening experience. So if I'm just going back to the blank slate of being here and now, what would that mean? Would that mean I'm just being with the flow of the universe without having the experience and the learning, or with the experience and learning, but not attached too much with it, and therefore I have this flow of the universe, the sense of awakening, or waku waku I call it, liberated sense, energy flowing, as if I'm in the Garden of Eden without mind, because that's part of the spiritual teaching that don't be occupied with the mind. Well, being here now and forget all the mind is one way to say it, but one of the wisdom as human being and where I am, I see that wisdom is also to recognize what's in the mind, but not to be attached to it. So it's just a mirror mind. I mentioned that. That's part of the 4 or 5 wisdom in Buddhism they talk about. There are 2 universes. One is the universe in the mind and the universe as it is in nature. So those 2 are somewhat separate, but to be connected. So when it's connected, this mirror mind, you can look at what's going on in the mind, but not to be caught up with it, to make a good judgment. And that happens when we are here now. So not to forget anything in the past, but be able to appreciate that we can appreciate. That's a funny way of saying it. But that's the thinking or the thought that pops up when I read this sentence from Shunji Nishimura, who went to Brazil and started this company, Jackto, and the people there gave me this saying in China or Clay. And I believe that saying is so true that we do appreciate what has happened in the past. See, the mind goes to the past, but with a compassionate sense of what many people, unimaginable process had taken place for me to be here and connect to whatever the heritage of those generations of people brought out the wisdom, hopefully. And there's a delusionary thing also come with it. But if you find that beauty or authenticity of the wisdom or compassion, because you are the result of the past, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just more of a profound realization instead of just being here and now and forget about the rest, as in the trees and insect living in the Garden of Eden. That's one. That's also beautiful. It's not violating to the law of the universe, flowing with the law of the universe. But at the same time, the humans went out of the Garden of Eden to have the knowledge yesterday, tomorrow, seeking, desiring, going into delusion. And yet, because of that, we can be awakened, still go through the ups and downs of life, and trying to be truthful and sincere to live well. That's one way that the insect cannot do, or the tree cannot do. But we have that insect portion, the tree portion within us as the flow of the universe for us to live, connect to each other, appreciate, have the sense of compassion from those generations of people. Well, in that generations of people, I'm sure there are lots of delusionally beings, like I hate to say it, but like a Putin, element of Putin may have been there in my ancestors. And logically, scientifically, my brain says that I can trace back and I can see that could happen, but not to be occupied. If we can detach ourselves and find the flow or learning out of any experiences in the past, then we have this potential that we can pass on to the next generation. And that thought, the desire, compassionate sense, hopefully with wisdom, has a room for us human beings as a species to find a destiny. Osho may say, living here and now, or Eckhart Tolle, don't think too much of tomorrow in the Bible, and do things you can, given. That's very good to be rooted, flow of the universe. But at the same time, jump around a little bit and appreciate the fact that we can have delusion. It's a funny way of saying it, but because of delusion, we can see what can be done. And if that's the human being's mission, and that's how we are programmed in the operating system of the DNA, and DNA itself is changing, and then we can be a factor of the change into the future generation to be meaningful as human and going beyond the human of the suffering, yet keep working and hopefully enjoying the process, not get depressed or anything, but have the sort of wider view, not just narrow view, narrow sense of the mind, and just occupying or just be here and now as if a bird or insect or a tree. That's good. But that's not the whole of it as human. So be human, sincerely, truthfully moving forward, whatever the path may be, but benefiting from the past and appreciating with compassion and wisdom of whatever have happened with their all sorts of trials and failures and learning to come to where we are now and where I am. And I'm to pass away into melting into the nature, but possibly, it's not guaranteed, but the human may carry some message into the future with the DNA, maybe modified a little bit at a time. And the AI and the plugging into this USB into your brain to change, hopefully in the right direction, may give us unknown potential. And if that's the destiny, and if that's going to happen, I think it's okay to do our best instead of being here and now only, but with the experience of here and now to be open to share a thought, learn with each other, and have a platform to discuss, be creative, challenge with each other, learn from each other, and moving forward. So I think I go back to the saying of the middle way of using the brain or mind and not negating it, but listening to the heart. As Dalai Lama mentioned to my book, Results from the Heart, use the brain, but at the same time listen to the heart and be always connected to where we came from, the root of being, and bring out the wisdom going forward and have the mission to live accordingly. Given the limitation of who I am, what I've got, I appreciate the comment. We are not here just being ourselves. All the course of event took place, ancestors, interactions, good and bad, and trouble and awakening, and we are here. Let's carry the torch and move on the best we can and having fun in the process. I'm cleaning up my house, my partner's place. I have a bunch of stuff that I am giving away or throwing away, or whoever want to take it from the back street. Some may pick up the plate I was given by the people in Brazil. And I put the note in English to translate. I don't know who it's going to pick up. I don't know if the message carries its own weight or into influencing someone into the future. Well, lots of unknowns. Maybe I'm playful, but maybe also imagining the unknown potentials as much as I'm coming with the unknown potentials some people thought about as a human being living here. So we're not here living alone. All the ancestors, as well as the laws of nature, to combine all the molecules, atoms from the eons of the past for us to be here for unknown reason, but we can possibly relate to that flow of the universe, laws of the universe, appreciate what we can, and pass on what we think is meaningful for the next generation, as well as to live according to that sense of truthfulness and sincerity. I think that's my mini awakening. Just a thought of the day as I clean up my goods and stuff. My future is unknown, but that's what it is. I'll figure out with a principled way that I think I hope I'm getting the hang of it. There will be mistakes I'll be making, but I'm gonna be at least sincere and truthful in the way moving forward. Thank you.